If you've been making divots behind the ball much too often, then I want you to keep watching, because right after this, I'm going to show you a very simple and effective drill that's going to help you relocate your divots in front of the ball every time for clean contact. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com, and who would know that the answer to your problem hitting the ball fat and hitting divots behind would be right here in a bag of chips. But I'm going to show you a really great drill using some chips. Very simple. You could also use peanuts. I guess you could use M&Ms, but that'd be a big waste of chocolate. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to pop open this bag of chips. I'm very tempted to eat one, but instead I'm going to take just a small piece of one chip. Set the bag down. Hopefully the wind doesn't blow it away. What I'm going to do with this small piece of chip is simply put it about 4 inches in front of the ball and about 1 or 2 inches left of the ball, like that. So I call this Pierre's potato chip drill in honor of my friend from France, Pierre, who fixed his issue with path running too far into out and his divot being a little bit behind the ball, and we got him to hit it straighter and more crisp with this exercise. You see what the object is of this drill will be to intend on coming down, hitting the ball and the chip both virtually simultaneously. If you can do that, then your path will be really straight and your low point should move in front of the ball for cleaner contact. So let me see if I can make the chip disappear. I'm going to do the first one pretty slow and easy with maybe a half swing rather than going at it full bore. This is what I always recommend when you try something new, is do it on a small scale first. Okay, I'm going to try to make the chip disappear. And even though I didn't hit a great shot, my intent was make sure that I catch ball and chip and drive the chip off the mat just like that. I'm going to try one more. Again, I've got the chip about 4 inches in front and maybe an inch or two to the left. This is because right after impact, if your path is straight, the club should be on an arc, so it should be moving back around to the left as it reaches the lowest point in its arc. So if you're going to have a straight path, when the club reaches its low point, it should be a degree or two to the left on a short iron, which means you'll strike down with a zero path or a straight path, hit the ground in front and scrape at a divot that starts to move a little bit to the left. Let me give it one more try. I'm going to try to hit the ball and the chip. That helped me with my low point. Instead of being way behind the ball, back here to move it in front of the ball where I would catch the ball clean. I like using potato chips because they only cost me $1, and if I had bought them at the store, they might have cost me $0.25. And I could probably get 100 little pieces of chips, so I could get an entire bucket with this one bag, and it's, you know, it's biodegradable. The birds will get it or the squirrels will get it, so you're not littering or anything like that. So after a few tries with the chip, I might try to do one without a chip, move more back to normal again, but I'm going to be picturing the spot where the chip is, and I'm going to try to hit the ball and the spot. Okay, great. So I've got my stats here from my TrackMan. It's just off the camera. So you know I'm looking at it wirelessly, and the unit is right here below the camera. I'm going to put up this shot right up here in the corner of the screen, and I'm going to circle a couple of key things here. On that last swing, I had a downstrike of about 5 degrees, and my path was 0, so my path was very straight. And here I have also circled, you'll see, my low point, or the lowest, where was my lowest point in the arc, where it reached the bottom of the arc, and that was around 4 inches in front of the ball that time. So I had very little to no chance of hitting the ball fast. And furthermore, I'm probably going to get a better trajectory, a little more piercing trajectory on my short irons, where someone who's hitting the ball behind all the time would tend to scoop. Because the club shaft, if you're bottoming out behind it, is going to be either straight or maybe even leaning backwards a bit like this, which just simply adds loft and makes you hit the ball very high. So if you're hitting your short irons or your wedges very high and short, this would be you'd be another candidate for this potato chip drill. So you can also miss a golf ball thin, which means you've hit it low on the club face. And I want to show you how this is it's closely related to the fat shot. In fact, you might have the problem of a fat shot golfer but never take any divots. This is because the fat shot is so destructive that you may have experienced it a couple times early on, and then you started evolving into being a picker. So if that's you, you've never taken a divot before, he's like, that's not my problem, I don't even take divots. So what happens is the same thing, you're bottoming out too early. So here you come descending, and you're leveling off back here. So this is where you would hit the ground unless the club was raised 1/4 of an inch off the ground. So you miss the ground altogether, but now as you ascend, because you remember you've already bottomed out, so the only place to go when you've bottomed out is up, and you're going to hit the ball thin or in the equator, and if the problem is bad enough, you might even hit the top of the ball and hit grounders. So these are closely related. They both have to do with where the bottom of the arc is. So one step, if you're hitting thin, one additional step is you would want to use the potato chip drill and make sure that you hit the potato chip because that'll also help you get your divot depth back where it belongs again. So hey, I hope this drill, my Pierre's potato chip drill, I hope it helped you. If it did, would you mind hitting like and maybe consider giving me a subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I usually try to answer all the questions I have in the thread below. Thanks to Golf Development Complex, and I'll see you next time, hopefully farther down the fairway.